Okay, all right, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Um, in this video, I would like to discuss um not speaking up when you don't use your voice and you end up lashing out, because I feel like this is a common thing that a lot of people who may have grown up like me and didn't you were never heard, like growing up in an environment where you were never seen and you were never heard, and you were always forced to minimize yourself. It's like in your adult years, nobody's doing that to you no more. Nobody's doing that, and if they are, they should not be in your lives. But you have free will as an adult, and you don't have to deal with anybody minimizing you, making you small. But there's still that little voice in your head from your childhood, that tells you still have to be small, you still have to minimize, still, you know, you shouldn't speak up, and or that tells you that you're being dramatic when you do say you don't like something. So when you go through a lifetime of like never speaking up, you pretty much automatically just assume that you can't. But what happens is when you don't ever say anything is you bottle everything up. You bottle everything up. Um and then you lash out. So let's see. I wrote some talking points because I don't want to ramble without any kind of cohesion. But yeah, so for instance, and I was prompted to make this video because I just had an incident or a situation with one of my closest friends out here in Bali, who I love to death. And a lot of it had to do with speaking up and speaking up at the right times. Um, and how it affected my approach towards my friend. So oftentimes with me, just in general, like sometimes I do speak up when I have a problem, but sometimes I don't. And that's because I grew up getting told I'm not allowed to have boundaries. My no did not mean no during my childhood. And I think a lot of people who grew up in, like, if you're a Nigerian girly, or just in general, like a lot of us, like African children, we grow up being told like we don't matter, like what, shut up and do as you're told, and your thoughts don't matter. I'm not saying it's like that for all of us, but for a lot of us it was like that. It was strictly like obedience, obedience, obedience. Don't talk back, don't defend yourself, don't say something hurts. Even if you say something hurts, suck it up, shut up, you know, that kind of mentality. So it teaches you that when something hurts, even if it's the smallest thing, you minimize it on your own without anybody even have to tell you to minimize it anymore. Uh so I would say, like, there are things that, I could be sensitive to, but it's like I don't tell a person like, hey, I don't like this. You know what I'm saying? Because in my head I'll be like, oh, you're just being extra. So that leads me to the self-gaslighting part. So self-gaslighting, yeah, basically minimizing your own feelings. Like, you tell yourself it's not that deep, it's not that serious, it's not a big deal. And I get that you do have to have that attitude in life, because life is going to come at you. Life is going to come at you and bend you over and spank you on the booty a few times. But and during those times when it does that, you gotta pick yourself up and be like, yeah, you know what? I still gotta do what I gotta do. But when you don't acknowledge when something is really bothering you and you keep minimizing it, you're you're essentially gaslighting yourself. Like, If someone says something to you that you don't like, or they do something towards you that you didn't like, and you're like, what was your initial gut feeling? What was your initial gut feeling? Did your initial gut feeling tell you, I ain't really like that too much? And if that is yes, then you need to follow up with that. What you do is your initial gut feeling says, I don't know, I don't like that so much. And maybe that initial one, you brush it off cool. Something else happens. Then your gut is like screaming at you even more, like, hey, hey. Anyways, so your gut is like really screaming at you and giving you the Samuel Jackson eyes, like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. But what you do, aka me, you ignore it because you're like, I'm being too sensitive. Like, I'm just being such a sensitive batch. Like, I'm being sensitive. Like, it wasn't that serious. Like, they probably didn't mean it like that. And you know what? They probably didn't mean it like that. But whether they meant it whatever way they meant it still hurts your feelings a little bit. But because you keep downplaying how you feel or how you received it, you continue to bottle it up, right? So now keep bottling things up, but also this person is not aware that you don't like this certain thing, right? Because you convinced yourself that you're taking it too personal and it's too much. Um, you convince yourself that your feelings are too much, right? So then finally, this person says one last thing to you, and then you just, boom, explode, right? Who's in the wrong or right here? But yeah, so it's not necessarily a wrong or right thing, right? It's just a communication issue. Because most of the time, if you communicate something, if you communicate a boundary uh, in the beginning, most people will follow that. If you let it be known, I don't like this in the beginning, most people will follow that. Only like a select few of really like diabolical people will still keep trying to cross a boundary once you've made it clear. But the problem with people like me, uh, with our traumas and stuff, is we don't always make it clear that we don't like something until we finally make it extra clear. But by the time we make it extra clear, now we look crazy because we done blew up at everybody and set the whole place on fire and shut everything down. Um, and so for me, this is something that I struggle with, and this is something that I'm still trying to work on. I've been trying to work on finding my voice for a long time, and I find it more and more every single year. I'm undoing and I'm unraveling all my childhood traumas every single year, and it gets better and better every year. But when you find your voice, you need to learn how to use it properly. Okay. And then this is me saying it to myself as well. And I'm going to send this video to that friend because I love her to death and she has been part of my journey. She has been a great, great part of my journey since I've been here in Bali. And I'm very lucky to have her as a friend. And I've been there for her as well. But yeah, I feel like I lost my train of thought for a second. Insert Jeopardy music. So like I was saying, yeah, part of that whole journey of learning how to find your voice um, is learning how to use it, learning how to utilize it, learning how to find your voice and use it in a manner where there is clarity, where it brings clarity and not confusion, and where it's not leading to more chaos. So if you know you got to be explosive every time you try to make a point, then that means you're bottling stuff up. I'm not saying I'm explosive all the time. I'm not explosive all the time. Um, but I will say like uh I'm so used to not being heard until I have an explosion. That's what it is. I'm so used to not being heard until I have an explosion, aka, for instance, my father. Till this day, till this day, there's still so much I have not said to that man. Still so much I have not said to that man about how I really feel, right? Because I've been so afraid, because it's not good things. It's not good things. And it's like I love him and I respect him. And I don't want to give the man a heart attack. He's old, right? But there was a lot of pain and hurt that were caused from some of his actions that have affected me in my life and how I relate to others, especially men. But he already done got cussed out by everybody else. So I'm over here like, dang, I feel sorry for the dude. Like, everybody's pretty much like, screw him, whatever. Or certain family members of mine don't deal with him anymore. So I was like, I feel kind of bad for him because like our parents are humans, right? They make some mistakes, some of them very grave mistakes. So it's like I put feeling sorry for him over expressing how I feel. So then, because I bottle so much up and I don't express how I feel to him, when it finally comes out, it's heavy, it's intense, and it's a lot. And it's because I bottled so much up. Um, like I just sent him a letter. He probably gonna be real sad after he read it. But I had to say what I had to say. I had to say what I had to say to him, and I try to be very respectful. But if I didn't send that letter to him, explaining why certain things and certain behaviors of his are harmful to me, or dismissive, the next time he did something, I probably would have cussed him out real bad and then blocked him for a year. But do I want to block my father for a year? No, I don't want to do that. I already lost one parent. One of my parents is already gone. Um, and I didn't get to resolve any issues with her at all. So I don't know how I'm gonna really end this video. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of talked about where it comes from. Like I told y'all, about my childhood and not being able to speak up. All right. So, owning my delivery without dismissing my pain. All right, so that's a big thing, right? We have to learn that we are not perfect. We are not perfect, right? At least I have to learn that. I'm still learning that. I'm still working on that. I am not a perfect person, and I don't have to be a perfect person to be loved. I do not have to be a perfect person to be loved. No one does. And the same way where somebody else can hurt you, but you still forgive them and you still love them, that's the same way that you should receive it as well. And I'm just a human being. But yeah, essentially, like when I have these lashing outs, I feel really bad. And it's like, what happens when you don't speak up, you bottle stuff up, and then you lash out? Sometimes it can take away from your pain that you felt about something. Um, it kind of just throws the whole thing away. So I want to like learn how to like have a better delivery when I don't like something without having to minimize the fact that I don't like something, whatever it is. I think it would have saved me a lot in a lot of friendships, because there's some friendship I had where the person was doing something clearly wrong, or something, or maybe not clear to them, I don't know, but something that I just didn't feel comfortable with at all and I did not like. But I kind of brushed it over, or I would just kind of be like, oh, maybe I'm just making a big deal. Or I would be afraid that if I told them I don't like this, then I would be the problem for saying I don't like this. Um, but that's not real. You're not being real when you do that. You're not being your real self. You owe your friends and the people in your life your authentic self, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You owe them that. And then it's up to them to decide whether they're going to love you through all of that. And if they don't, then those are not the people for you. You can't be the person that can love everybody through the good, the bad, and the ugly. But on the flip side, you don't allow them to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of you. That's not a real relationship. And then you go through this cycle of you finally rip off that mask. You finally say, I don't like this. I don't like that. And then the person is like, who are you? Like, who is this? I don't know you. Now they're uncomfortable. They don't know who you are because you finally spoke up. You finally removed the veil. You finally acted like a real person. Um, it's almost like I feel it's like I'm talking to y'all, but I'm talking to myself. This is like a diary. Like I'm talking to y'all, but I'm talking to myself. But I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that can relate to this. But the long story short of what I'm trying to say with this video is just start using your voice. Start following your gut. Listen to your gut the first time it tells you something. The first time you feel a little pinch of something, pay attention to it. Don't throw it to the side. Don't assume that you're crazy. Even if you are crazy for feeling how you feel, be the crazy then. Say it out loud. If you're wrong about it, you'll be corrected. But if you're right, you just saved yourself all this hassle and you saved yourself from internalizing all these things that you didn't have to internalize. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave the video at. We all out here just trying to make it in this world, just trying to navigate, being better versions of ourselves. That's what I'm trying to do every day. Um, and also, that's part of self love. Like self love is giving yourself the opportunity to speak. That is self love. Giving yourself the opportunity to speak and giving those around you the opportunity to hear what you have to say, giving them a fair chance. Um, that's all I got. I'm not some guru, so if by any means my video comes off a little choppy or it doesn't quite feel like 100% closed, it's not. It's not really closed. There's more to say. I got more to say. I just want to make sure that I convey my message the proper way to y'all. And I'm not going to sit here and talk to y'all for 5 million hours, but you can catch the next video. Catch the next video where I'll be talking about more things. All right, like, comment, subscribe, share. If y'all have experiences where y'all felt like y'all didn't use your voice and bottled it up, you know, tell me about it in the comments or tell me about how you overcame that and what do you do to practice like using your voice in a more healthy manner. And as always, if you got some negative stuff to post, go ahead and post it, fat. It will get deleted. It will get deleted because this is a safe space. All right, y'all have a blessed one. Bye-bye.